Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Raymond Yeung. Here are tonight's top stories. Sky Post to cease publication after 12 years, citing change in business environment. 2 separate road accidents leave 1 dead and several injured. And Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing reports its second highest first-half profit. Free Chinese language newspaper Sky Post says it is ceasing publication next month. The paper is owned by Hong Kong Economic Times, which only stayed afloat with the help of government subsidies last year. Janice Low reports.
12 years since it was launched, Chinese language newspaper Sky Post will soon become collective memory. Its publisher confirmed the daily tabloid's final edition will roll off the printing mill on the 15th of next month. After that, only 2 Chinese language papers remain free of charge. AM 730, which is owned by real estate mogul Shi Wing-cheng, and Headline Daily, a subsidiary of Singtown News Corporation, which also publishes The Standard. Hong Kong Economic Times Holdings, which owns Sky Post, announced the decision was made in line with market development. It added that the paper will transition into an online publication with a focus on health, entertainment, and lifestyle news. Readers expressed shock and disappointment as they picked up a hard copy of the paper this morning. Sky Post is my favorite among all free publications, this woman said. I feel its reports are relatively neutral compared to others. Another reader said she would miss the paper's tips on staying healthy and soup recipes. This man, meanwhile, said it is what it is. Established on July 27, 2011, Sky Post joined a once thriving scene of free newspapers. A number have already ceased publication or turned online only. But Sky Post still distributes around 450,000 copies per day. It is believed that around 25 staff members would be laid off. The latest development underscores the increasingly difficult business environment for traditional media in Hong Kong. Hong Kong Economic Times made a profit of $27.5 million last year, but would have ended in the red if a $33 million government subsidy was discounted. Singtel even reported an aggregate deficit of $279 million in the past 2 years. Janice Low, HKIBC.
2 men appeared to have lost control of their vehicles in separate road accidents. The driver in Kwun Tong passed away after his car rammed into a concrete divider at high speed. Here's Janice Low again.
Surveillance footage circulating online showed the moment the black Lexus sedan slammed into the concrete road divider at high speed as it was traveling east on Cha Kwa Ling Road at around 6 a.m. The force of the collision sent parts of the vehicle flying across the road. The front windscreen and the hood were mangled. It took firefighters over an hour to stabilize the wreckage, cut open the roof before they could reach the driver trapped in his seat. The 21-year-old was already unconscious by then, and he was pronounced dead shortly after reaching Cheung Kwan O Hospital. 4 passengers aged 20 to 26 were also rushed to hospital, and 2 of them remained in serious condition. There was another scary accident in Tsuen Wan hours later. Passers-by ran for their lives as the Tesla mounted the pavement and rammed into a bakery at Skyline Plaza at around 1 p.m. Pieces of concrete and coffee beans lead to the scene. The 59-year-old driver, who rented a car shortly before the accident, said he did not know why the car would not stop. He sustained minor injuries on his lips and legs. A bakery worker was trapped after some items fell on her waist, but remained conscious. Paramedics put on a neck brace before taking her to hospital. Janice Low, HKIBC.
U.S. President Joe Biden will be hosting his counterparts from Japan and South Korea on Friday in the first ever standalone summit between the leaders of the three countries. Washington is quick to play down claims that the meeting will further provoke Tokyo and Seoul's neighbors.
How much of the summit do you think is going to be focused on China and how much on North Korea, at least in terms of the security elements?
I think much of what you will see come out of this summit are concrete initiatives that address the broad expanse of that affirmative agenda, including security questions, including economic security questions, but also including things like coordination on development aid, on humanitarian assistance, on shaping the use of emerging technologies, on greater people-to-people exchanges. So I don't think there's any one thing that will dominate.
Vedant Patel, the Department of State's deputy spokesman, insisted there is no reason to view the summit as provocative or an effort to incite tensions. China accused the countries of forming small circles, saying their acts will undermine security in the Asia-Pacific region. But at the same time, Beijing is working to strengthen ties with its allies. Defense Minister Li Shangfu met his Russian counterpart Sergei Shoigu on the sidelines of a security forum near Moscow. Li, who is on a 6-day trip, will also visit Belarus, another country isolated by the West over the Ukrainian invasion. Overseas, tensions remain in Eastern Europe, with Poland deploying additional troops at its border with Belarus. Ukraine's key ally also flexed its military muscle with a massive army parade in capital Warsaw. Sachin Kapil reports.
In a symbolic show of force, the Polish army brought out its helicopters and fighter jets in a massive military parade in Warsaw. The Eastern European NATO member may have been celebrating Army Day, but the message to its neighbors was loud and clear, that any aggression would be met with force. In a deterrent move just last week, Poland deployed additional troops on its eastern border with Belarus, Russia's closest ally, which has aided Moscow's efforts to invade Ukraine. The buildup was in response to two Belarusian military helicopters briefly entering Polish airspace. Poland has emerged as a key ally for Ukraine, which makes it vulnerable. Most Western military equipment and other supplies reach Kiev through Poland, which shares a border with Ukraine that is 500 kilometers long. Keeping the logistical route open is crucial to the timely supply of ammunition for soldiers on the front line. Russian Defense Ministry spokesman Igor Konashenkov said Moscow launched a sea and air attack across Ukraine using long-range precision weapons targeting power grids and other industrial facilities. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who has been visiting frontline regions, once again asked for more weapons from the West to repel Russian forces and regain lost territories. Meanwhile, the United States has announced another $200 million worth of security assistance package for Ukraine. It will provide Kyiv with a new batch of munitions and tactical vehicles. Washington is also asking Iran to stop supplying Moscow with attack drones. But Russian President Vladimir Putin remained defiant. Addressing a security forum, he slammed Western countries for escalating the conflict by providing funds and weapons to Ukraine. Sachin Katvi, HKIBC.
The wildfires on the Hawaiian island of Maui have now claimed at least 101 lives. Local residents are now planning legal action against the state's electricity provider after suspecting power lines, which were toppled by strong winds, had triggered the blaze. 1 week after devastating wildfires ravaged the Hawaiian island of Maui, authorities confirmed that the death toll has reached 3 digits. At least 101 people are now confirmed dead, but the number is expected to go up sharply in the coming days. Cadaver dogs have now been deployed to pick up and track the scent of deceased individuals in the rubble. The dogs are trained to sniff out burnt human remains amid a contaminated environment with smoke and chemicals.
We have a large force of people here on the ground. We now have 416 people from FEMA, 273 specifically from the National Guard as well, 185 in the emergency response with 20 dogs, finding those who have suffered.
But the efforts are doing little to placate angry residents, many of whom remain without basic necessities, such as clean drinking water. Scrutiny is also intensifying on the state's power provider, Hawaiian Electric, after videos emerged showing live power lines toppled by strong winds and igniting dry grass on the ground. The clip, filmed by a Lahaina resident, could be crucial in determining what really started the massive blaze.
I hear a pop coming from across the street. As soon as I hear the pop, all I heard is like electrical, like bzzz, going on the ground there. Look, there's the power line right there. And shortly after, thing was just arcing away on the ground, landed right in dry grass, so sparks, and then there was a fire. You get all this wind blowing and now you get a fire. It just, that was fuel, and just in a matter of minutes, that whole place was just engulfed.
A class action lawsuit has already been filed, seeking to hold the power company accountable for one of the worst disasters in the state's history. Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing reported $6.3 billion of profit for the first half of the year, the second most on record. The stock market operator raked in bumper investment income, which offset declining transactions. Chloe Fong reports.
Even with a declining trading volume, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange registered robust earnings. For the first half of the year, the boss recorded net profits of $6.31 billion, a 31% jump year-on-year. Earnings soared by 34% to $2.91 billion between April and June, its second-best quarterly performance on record. The bumper profit can be attributed to its diversified investment income, which climbed to $2.68 billion, a 29-fold jump. The stock operator announced an interim dividend of $4.50 per share, 30% more than the same period last year. But there are growing concerns on daily trading volume, which was dragged down by sluggish Chinese firms and declined by 16% in the first 6 months. Funds raised in initial public offerings were also down 9%.
Looking ahead, we expect the uncertainties of the macro landscape to persist and continue to shape market sentiment. However, we are confident in the resiliency of our business and our ability to capture the medium and long-term opportunities, which remain significant. We remain prudent in the management of our business and cautiously optimistic about the outlook.
Augustin added that the exchange is working with major banks to revive the stagnant stock market. Chloe Fong, HKIBC.
Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index ended the day down by 251 points. The top 10 active stocks. The Tracker Fund was down 26 cents. Tencent was down $3.80, while Alibaba was down by $1.95. AIA Insurance was down by 95 cents, while China Construction Bank was down 7 cents. The forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar, the euro's at 8.54. 1,000 Japanese yen will get you 53 Hong Kong dollars, while the Australian dollar is at 5.05. Over in Europe, the London FTSE is currently down 42 points. Finally, the weather. Mostly overcast with a few rain patches tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 28 and 33 degrees. The unsettled weather will continue for the next couple of days. That's our main news for Wednesday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Raymond Yeung. Good night.